So yeah, good morning and welcome to our marketing automation for SMBs. This is part of our SMB webinar series that we're running and is number 2. Like to thank everyone that joined the last webinar and also everyone else that's on this webinar as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about Pardot and the Salesforce CRM integration and how it can benefit users to have one system on one platform. We'll talk a little bit about scoring and grading of leads. We'll discuss mailing lists, drip programs, marketing personalization, and then also delve into a little bit of reporting and marketing analytics. So actually, what we're going to do here is we're going to start on LinkedIn. Now, just a pre-warning, I'm going to be using different browsers to simulate different prospects. So you'll see me moving around the different browsers. So here you can see I've just moved to a different one, and then we'll show you guys how it would look from different prospects and different entry points. But here we're starting the journey on LinkedIn, where Cloud Orca, our business, has just conducted a social post. So through Pardot, we posted out to social media, and within it, we embedded a tracking link. Okay, here. So that is now that is a link that's going to be able to track who interacts with the specific social post. So now here I'm going to click on the link, okay, and it's going to take me to a certain page on our website. So now I can straight away start the journey where I can track this person, even though they are unknown, from a social post, clicking a link straight onto website here with a form that's embedded into the website. Now this is a Pardot form that has been made in Pardot and is then shown on a website. Super easy to change and to edit. So for us, if we want to add things in, remove things, it takes a matter of seconds to change this. And what we're going to now do is start to fill in some information about this prospect. So I've just clicked on the link. Okay, and then we can start to ask certain information like what their name is, what their company is, what industry that they're in, and this is an important one that we'll take you through and show you guys later, what their job title is, and any messages. Okay, and then we'll submit that straight from the website. So what essentially we're doing is we're using the form then to capture information that we need about that particular prospect. And as I stated before, we can make those changes really, really quickly in Pardot. And you saw some of the fields were required. So you can have required fields in there. You can have data validation in there. So things like you must have an email address from a real business. So here for the demo, we used a Gmail, okay, but we could then say to Pardot, don't accept Gmail, only accept registered business addresses. So now I've submitted this form. What we've done on the back of it is and I'm just going to bring another browser in here, is you can see we've got a simple email autoresponder. The first thing we notice is that the subject line is personalized. Okay, so we always like to personalize everything. It makes it, it does make it, well, I suppose, more personable and a little bit less generic. So opening the email up, now you can see before we started to interact with the LinkedIn post, with the link, we interacted with the website. Okay, now we've got the email, we've opened the email. So every single thing that we're doing with all of these different marketing assets is being tracked and being recorded, ready for us to show you guys later how you can leverage that data. So this is an example here. What we've got is an email off the back of that. A little example as well as personalization. Here we've embedded a GIF in there. You can embed YouTube videos or Wistia videos. You can put different links in here. You see at the bottom, we have the different hyperlinks for our socials, company details. We can download different files, but here what we're going to do is through this link, we're going to download this PDF again that's hosted in Pardot. Okay, so we've downloaded that, and now I'm going to exit out of this. So that's the first journey that we're showing you guys, is someone organic. Okay, come from social media, they could come from SEO, You could also go through paid search as well, if anyone of you guys PPC, and it would show all of those different entry points. So it's really important to note is that this first person we knew nothing about. We advertised on LinkedIn through a social post. They clicked on that, they came through, filled the information out, and we have and now we know about that person. The second example that we're going to show you here is a different prospect. So this prospect here, as you can see, a different browser. This prospect we've had in our system for months. We met them at a trade show, scanned their business card in, took a couple more details of them, and we've been effectively trying to market to these people for a while now. Okay, and they've never really interacted with us. We don't really know anything. But finally, we send something that piques their interest. Again, a personalized email around about marketing automation. So now the user can, or the prospect can click on this email. And as you see, we've put in some personalization in there, like I discussed. And what we're aiming to do in here is get this person to click a CTA, a call to action. So we've embedded a link in the email, similar to what we did before, where we took them to a web page on Cloud Orca's website. Here we're going to take them to a landing page. And again, this is all made in Pardot. This is all tracked. So now we're going to click on this landing page link, and the landing page is now open. This particular landing page we built in Pardot, when we have minimalistic or minimal developer skills when it comes to building web pages. We built these ourselves. Okay, it's got a drag and drop facility that you can do to easily create and mock these landing pages and these forms up. Alternatively, you can get a web designer to come in and design these pages. So it's very flexible in terms of how the different marketing assets will be built. There's two things to notice here. The first thing is that you don't just have to personalize your emails. You can also personalize things like your landing pages. Straight away, we've taken in, and there's a little bit of personalization, pulling in the person's first name, both on the landing page and also on the form. So again, giving it a little bit more of a special touch. The second thing to note is what we've done, because we already had this person inside of the CRM and we've marketed to them, they've clicked on it and they're cookied. It means that all of their information has pre-filled using something called progressive profiling. So here you can see, I don't need to go through the same laborious process of filling out all of that information and clicking submit. It's already in there for me because we know that information. So we know the person's first name, last name, company, email, and industry, because we got that when we met them at the trade show. Here, to stop bots, we can embed a reCAPTCHA that allows us to go in and use that. So here you can see now we can prevent any bot spam attacks. And this time what we're going to do is, rather than downloading a file from an email, we're going to download it from a form. And here I'm going to click download now. Okay. And what's happened is that we've now got this success message. So it's a different way of gating content. So the first way of gating content that we showed you is where you could send an email autoresponder to the person when they submit the form in with the link to download the file. But here we're offering a different way to gate the content. It's on a link here, and if you see, if I click on this, the file will download. So yes, I want to download it. Okay, and you can see now it's downloaded and it's popped up here in PDF. So that's a slightly different way. Now, the only thing about this is, obviously, in theory, that we're not asking the person to provide a real email address, but sometimes businesses prefer the flexibility where people, they don't want to put in an email address. So you might have it as optional. It's entirely up to you. Pardot allows that flexibility. You also see on the success message, we have offered a little bit more personalization. So not just around the person's name, but also around their business name, okay, as well. So the key thing here, and you'll see this in a second, is as we are recording the information and collecting that information, we can use that information for all sorts of personalization in the system. So we're going to jump now to go to Salesforce and Pardot, so into the platform. But just to summarize how our two different prospects entered. So the first one was someone we didn't know anything about. They were organic. They came in from LinkedIn, so from social media. We're asking them, we're collecting their details, and then we're undertaking an action. Okay. The The second one is someone we already know about, and that could be anyone in the system that you've got at any life cycle stage within inside, and we've marketed to them to try and get a higher level of engagement out of them. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to Salesforce. Okay, so one important note I think before we continue is that so here's Pardot. One of the real USPs when you buy into these products, it isn't just that you're buying a product, you're buying a platform. Now here on my essentially my platform, what I have is the ability is to really just switch between the CRM and switch between marketing, and I can do this just by up in the top left hand corner here, which is what Salesforce called the App Launcher. So there's no need to go to have segmented systems where I'm logging into a different system to do something else. Even with API integrations and everything, there's probably still going to be the need to go into a separate system. Whereas here, everything's on one platform, so I never need to worry about going anywhere else at all. So we're gonna come back to Pardot, but I'm just gonna go into the CRM. So here are our leads, and I'm just going to refresh my page. Okay, so here are leads that we've got that have come in today. Okay, now the first one that you guys saw at the beginning was Jack Black, who we're going to click on here. So if you remember, this was the lead that came in from the organic LinkedIn social post, and we collected their information. So straight away, what we're going to see is visible from the CRM is access into all of their marketing history. So you can see just from this little component on the left-hand side, myself as a CRM or a sales user gets instant access to all of the marketing metrics and all of the marketing stats about this person. What's actually interesting here is to show about the first prospect is you guys just saw us clicked in a LinkedIn post. But before, what we were doing is navigating around and looking at our website. Okay, now what we've done is, even though we don't know anything about this person, we've cookied them. Okay, so what it means is that every web page that they're on, we can track what they do. So here you can see we were tracking back to an hour ago, but this could be days, this could be months, this could be a person that has been on your website and all over your different products and landing pages for many months, but they've never just given you any details. And the key thing here is we never lose that information, and we're collecting that information all the time. And here you can see then what happened is we click the link, okay, and then from clicking the link, you can see that we have pulled out a page as priority. So we want to know that they visited certain pages because we want to track that and really call that out to the salespeople. We can then see that they've gone in and you've gone through all of the different pages that they've navigated on. They submitted the form, okay, and then not only have they submitted the form, but they then got the email, and then they've received the email, they've clicked on the link, and they've accessed the file in there. And what this has been doing is this has been then collecting up information that we're going to show you how you can use to report on your particular leads. A couple of things to note as well is that, again, all of the information that we took from that form that was submitted, as you'd expect, is inside of Salesforce. So, for example, where did they come from? They came from LinkedIn. It means I can go and report how many people came from LinkedIn and how many people came from social media. Their industry, which is a really important key determining factor for us as a business, we can collect. Obviously, their email. And then depending on how they've interacted with us as well, we can also action certain things for the sales team. So here on the right hand side, you can see what we've done is we've created tasks. So here what's happened is, because it's come in and it's against a certain industry, it's been assigned to one of my colleagues, and then we've got tasks that have been created based on that the form has been submitted, and also now a high priority task because they've downloaded a white paper. So that's what we were looking for, that key interaction. And you can create one task. We could create multiple tasks in there. But the key thing is what we're doing is, through a marketing entry, we're then assigning and prioritizing the lead from a sales perspective as well. So it's seamless. There's no emails exchanged, phone calls about different things. The salesperson can clearly see what they have to do because this particular lead has undertaken marketing related activity. What we discussed a second ago was the engagement. Now, what we've been doing is we have been collecting all of the different marketing engagement that this lead has had with us. So remember, they visited certain pages on the website, they opened emails, they clicked on links, they clicked on social posts, they accessed files, like all of that. So what we're doing is we're collecting that, and what we're aiming to build up. I'm just gonna scroll down here, okay? And what we're aiming to collect is this, okay? This is a numerical value called a score, and it's every time the lead will undertake a certain activity with us, it will push that score up, giving you a visibility into who is engaged with you the most. So we take a baseline score of like 50 of someone who would be moderately engaged, and then over 100 who would be more engaged with us. And here you can see this particular person has got a score of 140. The next thing that we do as an organization is we grade our prospects. So scoring, which is numerical, is how interested they are in you or in us as a business. Okay, and it's a numerical value. The more they do, the more it increases. A grade, which is a letter grade, very much like exams going from F to A plus, is how interested we are in them. So here you can see that this particular lead has got a B plus, okay, because they might meet certain criteria that we take. One of the biggest ones is, for example, the industry that they're from in there, and like their job title. If we go to Cedric Leroux here, and I'm just gonna open him up. Here you can see on the left hand side, we can see all of the different marketing activity from Cedric Leroux. So here, he never visited our website, but we had him in the system and we were marketing to this guy. And then finally, he's clicked on an email. He, as you guys know, he's clicked on that. He's opened it. He's gone to the landing page. We've collected his details. But here, there's something a little bit more different about Cedric. He's a CEO. Okay, and he's in a different industry as an example. So if we scroll down here, what you can see is that Cedric has a Pardot score of 74, so it's slightly lower because before the chap before Jack had been all over our website. So he gathered a lot of different points from visiting different pages that we had attributed different metrics to. But because of the details about Cedric, mainly his industry in this case, that we use, we've assigned him an A, because that's something for us that we are that is more important in terms of how we measure our leads. Now, the key thing here is that just because we use industry, it doesn't mean that anyone on this call has to use industry. You can use any data that is inside of the CRM, and we can use that to then grade it. And then what that will then give you, as you guys saw, is we've got Cedric, who's an A, and we've got Jack, who's a B plus, and you can use that to push leads up the funnel, depending on their grade, and then together with the score, which is how engaged they are with you, then that gives you a metric of where to focus your time and where the salespeople will focus theirs. So that's an overview of then the leads coming into the CRM. So once they've come to into the CRM, we know a little bit more about them. Okay, we've, like, for example, their industry, and we've also started to do other things with them. So I'm just going to go back here to the first prospect. So this is Jack. So if you remember, Jack was from the high-tech industry. Is the guy that we graded a B. So he's then also got sent a follow-up email, okay, based on his activity with us. And I'm just going to open this email here, okay, and it's a little email that we put together. Again, in this instance, it's personalized again from using the data that we know about him. In this case, his first name. But what we can also do is style our messaging to suit the lead's industry, okay, or any other data in fact we know about them. So because we use it, I keep going on about industry, it's because it's one thing that we use as a business, but you could use country, you could use business size, you could use gender, you could use age. It doesn't actually matter. As long as you know it about them, you can use it. And here you can see what we've done is in the middle, we've got a messaging about the high-tech industry. This is a mixture of text and imagery as well. And if we go to our second prospect, which was Cedric, here we're going to go to Cedric's emails, okay? And you can see this is a new one that's just come in here, okay? And I'll open that up. And if you guys remember, Cedric was our high-tech our media lead. Okay, and then so Jack, our first one was our high tech, Cedric's our media. Now we don't have time to create tons of different emails. We don't. We're like you, we're an SMB, small medium business. So from our perspective, what we like to do is create one email, but just with a different variant depending on the data. So he can see it's exactly the same email, okay, again using personalization. But what we've done is, because we understand and we know their industry, the body of the email has changed. And you can use this anywhere in the email. You can use it on your landing pages. It's called dynamic content. So it changes and it will change depending on the data that you know about them. So not only have we taken the time to personalize the email based on the data that we know about them, but we're also personalizing the content and the imagery and everything around that. So it allows basically a really high level and a granular level of targeted marketing. Okay, so I hope that makes sense on that. And so those are the two different prospects that came in. We had one organic, we had one that we knew something about, and then what we were able to do is we were able to take the data and what we know about them, we're able to grade and score them, and we're also able to market to them effectively using personalized content. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back this time, and I'm going to go to Pardot. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys what happened once they submitted those forms. So we had Jack that came in through the website, and we had Cedric that came in through the landing page. Now, Salesforce and Pardot allow you to use point-and-click tools to build up small marketing journeys. So this here is a drip program, and we'll actually go into this in about 15 minutes in a lot more detail. But you don't have to be complicated. This is the simplest step in the world, and all that we have done is we have created a very simple drip that when they come in through one particular product, in this instance the landing page and also the website, we send them one email. That's all we do. Okay, and if I click on this here, you'll see this is the email. Okay, and you can put default content in the middle, but it's still one variant. So we've not spent hours and hours building out all different emails for all different use cases. We just build one email, we embed some dynamic content in it, and then we put it in a little journey. And now what will happen is as soon as they receive the email, okay, it will be personalized to them. And then what we will then do is go in and judge, okay, have they interacted with that email? Have they opened it? Have they, for example, clicked on a link? And we then use it to then attribute more score to them, and again push them up the sales funnel, okay, where we should be focusing our time. So really simply, you're probably wondering, how did they get that email? So really simple, they entered this list, which is what we're gonna show you in a second, okay? And then as they enter the list, we then send them an email with that embedded dynamic content in to enable a very simple marketing automation journey with personalization added in. So next, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys, how do we get them in that list? So I'm going to go to and build, we're going to basically build a list here. So Pardot allows you to build two main types of lists, okay? So I'm just going to name it here. So first of all, Pardot allows you to build static list, which is like a one that you guys would manually put people in. Okay, so you'd physically go to list and go, okay, add them to that list, like for example, newsletter or something like that, if you would want to. But it also allows for what is called a dynamic list. And this is something that we use the most, okay? And again, I just keep going back to the fact we're in SMB. We really don't have time to keep making these lists, keeping them up to date. We just don't. We want to send an email, we want to create an automation, and we want to know that our mailing lists are up to date. So what Salesforce and Pardot allows you to do is the ability to create a dynamic list. Now, if you remember, going back to those leads, okay, we were collecting information about them. So we were collecting their industry, we were collecting their job title, we were collecting what country they're in. And we can use this to build like a mailing list, and we can put all different types of rules in here. So anything that we know about this person, okay, so if you guys remember the grading, okay, let's build a list of just A pluses, okay, or the scoring, let's build a list of just people that have got over 100, for example, in there. So anything anything that you know about, we can use to build a list that will constantly refresh. But in this instance, what we're going to very simply do is we're going to build a list based on country. So I'm going to say that I want a prospect default field, country is United Kingdom. Okay, and you can see here I'm free typing. We have an option where we can free type. You can also make a country a drop down if you don't want to allow for spelling mistakes. And we're also, I'm going to put something in here for the webinar because we actually want to send an email and we don't want to send it to everyone in here. So we've created a little checkbox that will filter out anyone who isn't who doesn't know that they're going to get an email from us as part of this webinar. So you can use checkboxes, you can use date fields, you can use age fields, anything. Literally anything. As long as you've got that data, we can use it. And then what will happen is we'll say, do we want to run the rules? And we do. And now what will happen is this list will continuously be kept up. This list will be continually kept up to date. So you don't need to worry about having lists that you need to keep going and adding people in and remembering to put people in. It's absolutely not like that in the slightest. It will just automatically keep refreshing, and we'll come back to this in a minute to show you guys how that. Yeah, it's just very easy, really. Again, all driven towards SMBs, not much time. So using a dynamic list can really help your workflow when it comes to marketing automation. So we've created the list. Okay, the next thing we want to do is create an email. So making an email, again, we don't have a lot of time. It shouldn't be something that is particularly time consuming. So you can either have a whole load of email templates that maybe that you've made yourself that you can go in and you can copy, or what you can do is just simply go in and build one. So we're gonna build one today. Okay, and then things like you can put it and link it to a particular campaign. So to track the ROI, you'll see that everything that we did around those email sends and the landing page was all around this Pardot product launch campaign, which we'll come to at the end. And then you can select what type of email. Here, obviously, we're always going to do an HTML because we're going to make it nice and put some images in. And then you can select what you want it available for. Do you want it one-on-one? Do you want it only for list email, only for autoresponders, so that you can make this for both your marketing and your sales teams? Pardot then comes pre-built with a whole host of templates. And again, you don't need to be a web developer with HTML skills. You can just go, you can find a template that you like and you click it. And now your email builder that will open. Again, you'll see in a couple of minutes how we're going to build the email. So you can go in and you can put various different images in this. So you can store the images inside of Pardot if you reuse them, or you can just upload them from your desktop if you're making them in Photoshop or elsewhere. So you can see how simple that was. Took a couple of seconds to add that in. And now then you can, and on the left hand side here, what you're actually going to be seeing is a constant preview of the email. And then on the right hand side here, what you'll be seeing is the editor where I'm editing the content or editing the imagery. So it just makes it easy where you can always see what the email is going to look like as you update things. So now we can go in the editor and we can start to put some content in. We've got some pre-made content, so we're just going to copy and paste it. So we could start to put things in like the body, and here I'm then going to put in the header. Okay, and now you can go in from the email, and very easily we can change the font. And again, all of this can be done from, which I'll show you in a second, can be done from HTML as well. So you can see we can just put in the title, change the font, make it bold. We can put in data from inside of CRM. Okay, so if you want to put this in, all you really simply do is just go to a button, and straight away you have access to all of your CRM data. Okay, so again, here we can go and literally find anything that we know about this person. I mentioned gender to you guys before, like age, everything. You can put all of that in there, so you don't have to switch between two platforms to personalize stuff. You don't have to keep data extensions in other systems up to date. The CRM's up to date, my marketing's up to date. Okay, so again, whenever we send anything, we don't have to worry about that. We can also go and embed links in. And this is all of the content that you guys have made and we've stored in Pardot. So again, the landing page that we made earlier, really simply, we can go in and just embed a link in there. Then you can put different social elements in. So go on Twitter, follow a friend, Facebook. You can see we had custom ones like blogs. Again, you can use those to track what people have done. And then finally on this email, you then obviously have our permissions. So there's two different sets of permissions. You can either have master unsubscribe, where someone would unsubscribe from all, or you can have a preference center where people can choose to be added and removed from different mailing lists as they go. But you can see how easy it was to make this, and you saw the different variants that we had before of GIFs in there. We had dynamic content, like I said. Also, we had you can put videos in. It's really simple. You don't need to be a developer to know how to use this. If you do have a web developer, you get access to HTML and CSS. So if you want to employ someone, or you have someone that knows and wants to customize that, it also allows for that element too. What we're going to do is just copy the text over to the text, and then we're going to go to the sending options. Okay, so now here, what you can do is you can choose who you're going to send from. So you could choose to send from a specific user that's in the CRM. So here I could send it from one of my colleagues. Okay, or you could use to send it from a made-up email address if you want. So here I could put Cloud Orca success. Okay, and this doesn't have to be this doesn't have to be a real email address, as long as the domain matches ours, cloudorca.com. And then if someone replies to it, actually what I can say is, could you reply to a specific user? Okay, and now we can customize the subject line. Okay, and again, let's think about the data that we know about them. Okay, so we know their first name. You can even put emojis and stuff if you want in there. Quick note about images and emojis, as we'll look at in a second. Different email providers and ISPs will have different spam filtering requirements. So sometimes just be careful about images and emojis and stuff. But as long as you don't go overboard, you should be fine. So now we're gonna save this, okay? And then so you can see we've gone in. We have the subject line didn't save, so I will put that in again. So again, just going in, I'll put first name, save. Okay, and now we'll publish this. Again, my sender options are missing, so I didn't save it. So here, just to save time, I'm just going to go in and say, okay, for a specific user who's going to send it, okay, and now we'll publish that. So you can see how quickly it took to make that email. So I went in, added in an image. I could use my CRM data to personalize it. We put all of the different links in that are trackable, including a landing page that we made earlier. We could reference that. We chose who was going to send it, okay, and then we saved it. Okay, really easy. And you can also do some other cool things with email. Actually, we're going to show you now. So one of the things that you could do is the email that you've made, you could choose to run what's called a render test to show how it's going to work on different browsers and different devices, get a spam analysis, how it's going to look. So here you can see I could go along for those of you that have Mac, and I could see how it looks on a Mac. I could see how it looks Office 365 for Windows. I could go along and have a look on how it's going to render and look on different mobile devices. So whether that's an Apple device or whether it is whether it's an Android device here as well. Okay, so I can have a look at how that is going to look for the different people on the different devices. You can look at things like subject line preview too. So again, if you want to see how that would look and display on all different devices. And then finally, really importantly, you can also run a spam analysis to understand if one of your images, if one of your emails hasn't passed for too many images and stuff. You can use that to then refine that to make sure you get as high a deliverability as possible. And then other cool things that you can do as well is we can do A/B testing. So we actually ran an A/B test yesterday and today over the last 24 hours, which we're going to show you. So not only can you make an email, not only can you personalize it, but then you can make different variants of it. and then you can run an A/B test to a proportion of your data to then really refine which one is going to be the winner. So in this instance, actually what we did is we made like a generic marketing email, and then we made a Salesforce focused email. The Salesforce focused email was version 1, and then the generic one was version B. And then what happens is it sends those emails over a stipulated time period. You can choose 24 hours, you can choose half a day, and then it will then send it to the winner. And here you can see we've got the winner has been sent to version A. So not only can you put like merge fields in from the CRM data, not only can you put different images in there to personalize it, to make sure that you get as much interaction as possible, you can also then send different variants. So subject line variants, sender variants, so you can go incredibly granular to make sure that your users and your customers and your leads will interact with your marketing content. So so we built the email. Okay, then what we're then going to do is we're going to go back to our list that we made before. Okay, and you can see that the list here has run webinar list, webinar test list v2, and remember that's now brought in everyone in here that is expecting to get our email that we're going to send. So it's automatically populated. So as soon as someone enters that list, and as soon as someone meets that criteria, they will enter the list. If they don't meet the criteria, in this instance we use country, so they move country, they'll just leave the list. So again, you don't need to worry about keeping a list up to date. As a small medium business doing marketing ourselves, this is an absolute lifesaver for us. So we can now go and we can send the email. So if you guys remember the email that we made before, we're going to go and we're going to send that email template. So we'll just call it test send. And now we'll choose the campaign that's going to be part of the send. Now this then gives you Pardot, then allows you to do 2 different options. So you can click A/B testing, which is what we just showed you. If you want to test 2 different variants of the email, the next thing that allows you to do is send an operational email. So for those technology companies in the webinar that have their own platforms that need to, for example, if you've got a server upgrade, if you've got issues, maybe you're redoing a privacy policy, your GDPR policy, you want a message from the CEO, or about COVID or something like that, you can bypass all marketing by calling it an operational email, and you'll be able to send it out as like an emergency. So people that have opted out will still get it. You can then go in and get and then find your email template that you made. Okay, and then once you've found your email, this is the one that we made earlier here. Now you can load that up and make any final tweaks if you want to it before you send it. And now you go to the sending options, and here you can see, if you remember, our specific user that we selected before is going to be the person that we send it from. We'll send it now to the test list that we made, so it should have 9 people. So that's who we're going to send it to. And you can now also suppress. So for example, in this instance, we're sending this out to leads, okay, for example, but what we don't want is we don't want our customers, okay, to get this. So we're going to put all of our business customers in there, okay, and you can see what's happened is that we've got 9 people in the list, but we've only got 8 because one of them is a customer, so we've suppressed them from sending. So you can put different suppression lists in that will override anything in there, so the wrong people won't get the wrong emails, okay. Next, what we can do is go down and on that email send, put different actions. So for example, when someone opens the email, we can undertake things. When someone clicks on the email, we can do things. When someone unsubscribes from the email, we can do things. In this instance, we're going to choose when someone clicks on the email, what we're going to do is if they click on a specific link, okay, so they're clicking on the landing page link, what actually we would like to do is we like to adjust their score, and we'd like to give them 50 points, for example, for clicking on that, or you can assign to users, so you can undertake different actions depending on what they've done on that email. And now what we're going to do is you can either schedule the email, so if you want to send it on a particular time, so you can make lots of different emails and then schedule them, or what you can do is just choose to send it now, and we're going to choose send, okay, and now that email will go off to all of those 8 people. Remember, there was 9 in the list, but all of those 8 people, okay, so that will then all be sent to them in a minute. So now we've sent an email. What we're just going to do is finally we're going to go back and jump back into Salesforce. Okay. So for if you guys remember, we had before the lead for Cedric Leroux. Okay. In there now, what's happened during here is as I was talking. Okay, Cedric has one of our salespeople has taken over. They've called Cedric, they've discussed the details with him, and then we've got a sales opportunity for those of you guys that didn't were on the last webinar. We did a whole thing around opportunities and sales. Now, normally what we always show is a happy flow, like what happens when this opportunity is closed won. We could send them something nice, a welcome email. But what about the unhappy flow? Okay, so you can also automate your marketing around things that don't go the way that they should do. So in this instance, what might happen is that an opportunity is going to be closed lost. And maybe it would be lost for a particular reason. So in this instance, that they're not interested this financial year. Okay, and then we'll mark that as done. Okay, and unfortunately now this sale is closed, it's closed lost. But what we want to do is we want to then automatically put that person into a nurture campaign to receive all of the great marketing assets that we've spent the time to put together, emails, PDF decks, landing pages, everything like that. So as soon as that's been done, what's happened is he's now gone to the marketing department, which we'll see now. So remember, guys, you saw earlier that really simple drip campaign. So here, what we've got is we've got a nurture that will put people in it depending on their loss reason for the opportunity. This instance is no budget this financial year, but again, anything that you want, as long as you understand and know the data, we can put them into this drip. And then what happens is along the way, we every 2 weeks in this instance, we send them marketing information. So I'm going to pause this. Okay, and then what I'm going to show you is how in principle it works. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's say Cedric Leroux we've just lost that opportunity, and we've said the reason is no budget this financial year. So straight away he enters the nurture. Okay, and what we're doing is every 2 weeks we're sending him information to keep him still engaged with us. And you can see here over on the right hand side, it's just giving you the ideas, the dates when it's going to be sent. We can also make decisions to personalize the nurture slightly. So here we've said, is his industry media and communications? Yes, it is. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to send him a success story that we've done based on that particular industry to keep him engaged. And remember, right back at the beginning, we were totting up that engagement score. Okay, so we were that was a numerical value. Now here, what we're asking is, has he opened the emails? Has he clicked on all of the links? Because that would have got his score up to a certain level. So we're saying, is his score greater than 150? Yes. Now what happens is he's been on that nurture. He's received all of those marketing assets from there. He's engaged them. He's opened emails. He's clicked on links. He's downloaded files. So then, because his score's over 150, it's assigned him to a user. It's created a task, so he can see we ran that for almost 3 months. Okay, so the opportunity as it closed lost would enable this person to go straight into that nurture, and off they go for you guys to keep them re-engaged again. So what you saw right at the beginning was that link between sales and marketing, and how salespeople can use marketing metrics to know where to dedicate their time best. And now what we're doing is we're passing that lead, that customer, we're passing them back over to marketing based on maybe something's gone great, they've won a deal, or in this instance they've lost, and we've sent them back into the nurture for 3 months, and at the end of it we pass them back across to the salespeople. So that's how you can see there's a little 360 degree there. And again, not really much to do. You can sit here. It's incredibly point and click. If we go to the build, for anyone that was in our last demo, you saw we did some really cool automations just from clicking. Okay, so it's all around point and click automation. Here is exactly the same in Pardot. I can do certain things in this drip. So I can go in, adjust score, add them to different campaigns, send them to different users, create tasks, send notifications, send emails, put them in different lists. I can go and listen for different marketing events to happen. whether they're clicking on links, whether they're downloading files, whether they're going on landing pages. And I can also use my CRM data and their marketing engagement data to segment them, to send them on different paths. The example we used here is industry, but again, you can go through and pretty much choose anything that you know about them, okay? Anything you know about them and what they've done with you, you can then send them on different paths that allow you to easily take a simple decision split. You can just see, I can go in here and ask, have they downloaded a specific file? Okay, for example, have they downloaded our media deck? Okay, and then just click yes, and it then allows you to put a decision in. If they have, do something else. If they haven't, do this. Okay, so really, really simple. You don't need to be a developer. It's all point and click automation, the same as what we had on the sales. Okay, and then finally, to sort of, I think to tie this all together, what we're going to show is to show you guys some stats. Okay, it's all well and good, you guys doing all of this great stuff, but you can also then use everything that you've done to then sit there, look at it, analyze what you've done, and then go to improve. Provide reports back to the board, to your colleagues, management meetings, your subordinates, etc., about how successful or maybe how not successful things have been, and you can use that to improve how you work in the future. And again, we've done nothing. Okay, this is all here for us. All of this information is just being collected, and then we can use this. So an example here is, this is the Pardot product launch campaign that I was saying to you guys that we were using. We were adding to the emails, all the landing pages, everything like that. And straight away I go on and it shows me my email open rate in that campaign. It shows me click-throughs, deliverability rate, how many forms have been submitted, how many people have looked at forms but not submitted them. Okay, so again, I can see conversion rate in there. Okay, what was my conversion rate? 35%. I can go in and see different members, what they've done, how many have they visited the website, how many have actually physically connected and done something with us. Down here, I can see all of the different opportunities, both won and lost. Remember that Cedric Leroux opportunity? There it is. I can see that it's closed lost. If it was closed won, it would attribute value to this particular one. So from a marketing side, you can report on, for example, I've put, you spent 10,000 on Google PPC and you've won an opportunity for 20,000. It would give you your margin, okay, on that particular campaign. Here we can see all of our assets that are linked to it, landing pages, marketing forms that we've got, clicks. We can even just go in here and see the unique clicks. And then finally, as well up the top here, go along and have a look at our campaign metrics. Again, we've got Pardot comes with pre-built analytics in there, which will show you in a second. That just allows you, you don't really have to do anything. It's all there for you to show you who's done what and how people have interacted with you as part of that particular campaign. An example here, everyone on this webinar is part of our webinar series campaign. And again, the really important thing is to show you how we work as a business, because we're an SMB. Okay, we don't have time to sit there and build loads of complex reports. It's all there for us out of the box. Here straight away, myself or anyone from within my business can go in here straight away and say, okay, here's all of the campaign metrics around the last 30 days. I can just go and say, show me what happened in the last 7 days. Okay, and straight away you can see that the chart would dynamically change depending on the information that I've selected in the filter criteria. Okay, so this is really important for us, helps us really look and refine how we work. Okay, and then finally, just to finish, so we've shown you that, I want to show you something high level. So I mentioned that we don't have time to build those reports, and the reality is actually that we don't. Okay, Pardot comes with Einstein B2B marketing analytics already done, already in here. It just needs to be set up. And once it's set up, it gives us an instant access into all of our metrics. We can sit here and look at everything. This is from the last 2 years. We can see email sends. We can see email engagement with us. We can see different engagement over forms. We can see over views. You can see we've got quite a lot of views in certain areas, but maybe our submission rate is slightly lower. The same thing with landing pages. And if I just wanted to sit here and look at particular campaign performance this year, I could say, okay, show me everything. For example, we'll pick this quarter actually, and then show me a particular campaign. I want to see my webinar series, and I want to see, for example, social media. Okay, in here. Okay, so straight away what happens now, I've put in 2 different campaigns, I get that, and I don't really need to do anything. Everything's there for me, and now I've got these, and I can use these to report to my colleagues, to board members, to people who work for me, based on what we've done. And you can see everything is just clicks. It can even link in to sales. Okay, so here you've got like an ROI dashboard that will show you visitors to prospects, to then MQL to SQL to closed won opportunities that sat against that. So you can see both your what's coming through from marketing, what's coming out the other end from sales, and it can give you a really good insight into the full end-to-end life cycle across that. So I wanted to just finish on that, as you saw there. So just to sort of summarize there, what we saw is we saw 2 different entry points, something that we knew, something where we didn't know anything about someone, something where we knew something about them, 2 different entries, 2 different ways to market to them, different variations and personalizations of email content. We showed you a little bit around drip campaigns, forms, reporting, and finally to finish on Einstein Analytics. And I think that the key thing here to get across to everyone on here, again, we use this day in, day out, right? We're an SMB. We don't have a full-time marketing team to sit there and do this for us. It's really important that everything's really easy and that everything is basically automated for us, so we can sit there and let our marketing happen whilst we get on and undertake other business as usual activities. Let's look at the first question in here. Can we view engagement at customer level? It's a really great question, actually. So actually what we're going to do is in here, we're going to go and look at, we have Salesforce in here at an account level. So if we click into Salesforce, again, this is in the CRM, okay? And if we click in, what we can see in here is we can see full engagement history at a business level. So we looked at it where before we looked at it at a personal level. Okay, here we can look at it in the business level. So we're seeing a complete overview of the business, what people have done within that business. And then what you can do, and I know that she won't mind, we've demoed her on the last on our last webinar. This is a contact from within inside of Salesforce, and one of their account managers. Okay, and what we can see in here as well is we can see her own personal engagement history. So some really good metrics, both at company level and also at person level. So it's a good question. If you're personalizing your emails based on info you have, what happens if there are missing fields? It's a really good question. You can set default values. So what you can do in Pardot is where you put a merge field in, you could set a default value. So for example, if it's hi first name, you could put there or colleague or customer or whatever you want in there. So you can put in a default content. So if it looks into the CRM and it doesn't have that, it will show something that's default. So you don't need to worry about having something that's blank and has got stuff missing. So it's a great question. Can Pardot be used in conjunction with any Salesforce variant? It's a good question. So we've used it with professional edition licensing and with enterprise edition licensing. So with both. What is the max number of emails that you can send in one go? It's a good question. Pardot has email throttling, so there normally isn't a max number. You can send hundreds and hundreds of thousands, but what it will do is it will throttle them, so it won't send everything all in one go, because if you do that, some email servers can worry about that you're spamming them. So Pardot will have throttling, so it will slowly send them out as you go. Obviously, the more people that you've got, the longer that the send is going to take. But in general, as far as I'm aware, there's no email limitations. The only limitation would be is how many contacts have you paid for to have in there. Can salespeople use Pardot? The answer is yes. Okay. For example, if we go to our leads and if we go to Jack Black here, not only do I have the ability to go in and look at their engagement history, I can also go in and add them to various mailing lists from within here, and I can also go in and send them to Pardot, or I can send them a Pardot email. So here I can go in and I can choose my email template like this. Yes, I want to send that to them. And now this has been made by marketing. And as long as marketing have selected that that's been available for one-to-one, I can go in here and I can say, yep, I'm going to send that email. Okay, and now that off that goes to Jack Black. Okay, and then he would then in a couple of seconds get that email, and hopefully on, yep, there we are on the left hand side, you can see it's sent, and it's sent a one-to-one. So it gives you the ability. The only thing to remember is your marketing team need to make sure they tick that box that it's available for one-to-one sends. Can you post from social? Yes, you can, is the answer. So Pardot also allows you, and we did it right at the beginning of the demo. In here is we posted to our LinkedIn. You can post to Twitter, multiple Twitter accounts, multiple LinkedIn, multiple Facebook accounts. The only thing that Pardot doesn't support is Instagram, but it supports everything else in there. You can see metrics of who's interacted with it, who's liked it, who's done what. So yes, the answer is that it does support social as well. So look, that brings us to the end, guys. But I'd like to thank everyone that attended this webinar on marketing for SMB. Next week, for those who are attending, it's all around service. And now we've got our customers, we've won the deals. How can we service them? So thanks everyone for attending. Have a great day and a safe week.